Train the muscles, not the joints.
What? Mountain. Welcome back to Natural Gallant Bodybuilding, and today I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what can lead you to a plateau in your bodybuilding or fitness journey. So the first thing I'm going to talk about, which is pretty obvious, I mean most of you guys know this just from tuning into this channel, but I'm going to state it anyway because hey, maybe there's somebody new here. But the one thing that I notice with people that hit plateaus is they have a tendency to stick in the same rep range all the time when it comes down to their sets and reps. So they're doing sets of bench press and they're always 5x5, or they're always 4 sets of 8, or they're always doing some sort of specific rep range and they never deviate from it. So although I admire this discipline, and a lot of times we do have to have this mentality when it comes down to training, because you have to have that discipline to stick to things and not let your, little snowflake emotions get in the way of you training that day, because sometimes you just feel tired or you don't want to train and you have to kind of power through it and say, I don't care about my frickin' feelings, I'm just training anyway. But sometimes this can work against you if you're too regimented, where you never shift anything up and you're always stuck like a fly hitting a wall. You're always doing the same thing over and over again, and the body is basically overworked in that area but underworked in other areas. So there's a reason why many elite athletes have periodization programs where they do lighter for periods of time or heavier, or sometimes they're doing flexibility training, sometimes they're doing rehabilitative work or balance work. The reason for this is because the body does get to a point where it says, hey, I've evolved and adapted as much as I can in this area. Now I need some other weak link to be healed or fixed first before I can go further here. So it's good for you to change things up and make sure that you start to look at other rep ranges specifically, because doing the same thing all the time is really going to start to work against you. Now the same goes for you not changing the angles. The same goes for you not changing the exercises or even changing the type of program that you're doing. So that's why I have a variety of different programs on my website, is because, yeah, 2-day splits are great, but maybe the A program, you're starting to wear out on that. You've done it for a few months and now it's like your body seems like, okay, I'm used to this. Now it's time to switch something up. And then you go over to the B program or C program, or maybe you need to do a 3-day split for a period of time. That's why I don't just say, just do one type of program all the time, because one thing you do see a lot on YouTube or the internet period is that you see the fanatics that are saying, hey, full body 3 times a week is the only way to train, or bro split program is the only way to train. Like, people get married to these programs, but they don't realize that each one has its benefits and its advantages and also its disadvantages. So you want to access as many different types of muscle fibers as possible to be a complete bodybuilder, and also to prevent you from burning out psychologically as well as physically, because burnout also can lead you to what? Plateaus. Now the next thing that can lead to burnout is something to do with mindset, and it does go in alignment with what I've just talked about. But what I'm going to say is that when your mindset is too specific towards one goal and you're hyper focused on that goal, so say you want to get stronger on the bench. They found me. I don't know how they found me, but they found me. Shit. I'm gonna have to move some stuff that I got back there somewhere. I'm gonna have to move it around a bit, I think. So this mindset can lead you to a plateau because you get too hyper focused on one goal, and once you start to hit some sort of resistance, you don't go to somewhere else and say, okay, I'm going to try something new, try to go from a different tact or create a different strategy, and perhaps holistically you're still going towards the same goal, but you're just detouring temporarily. So an example of this is, say you're just going for that 1 rep max on bench. You want to get stronger in bench, stronger in bench, stronger in bench, but you notice that every time you get in there, you're the same strength, or maybe you're a little bit weaker, and you're noticing that your body starts to fight back with you. Well, by changing the rep range or doing a workout here and there, just with different rep ranges or different angles, you may find that then when you come back, you're actually stronger because you've given a certain part of your body a break, and at the same time, you've actually accessed some other muscle fibers and replenished the body in some way through doing something different. So you need to have a little bit of flexibility in the mind here to let go of that goal temporarily, and just be open to the fact that sometimes when you let go of a goal, when you detach from a goal, you actually have a better chance at achieving that goal. Huh? Eh? Genius, right? This is the genius stuff I'm teaching here, because it's true. I only teach true stuff. Now, another thing that can lead to plateaus is being afraid to take time off. Now, I know this seems counterintuitive, because if you don't train enough, that can lead to a plateau. But if you train too much, it can also lead to a plateau because you overtrain, or your body just has no ability to recover anymore because you've just burned it out. You're just training 24/7. So this is why I always talk about not letting your ego or your insecurity drive you on this path, because if it is, it will cause you to not pay attention to the warning signs that the body may be giving you. So if you're intensely fatigued and tired all the time, you're getting colds and flus really easily, you can never sleep enough, maybe your body's telling you something. Maybe it is telling you that you just need to take a day or two off and replenish, and then come back into the gym better than ever to get that better pump and better strength and start recovering. Now, another thing that also people do, which is in alignment with this, is that they diet too hard for too long. They start to eat too strict or too clean all the time, and therefore they rob their body of certain nutrients that it might need. So this is why I eat organ meats all the time. I do make sure that I have a lot of minerals, and I notice that it has made a difference in my body. Mountain, of course you can tell, right? But I've noticed that I feel more replenished all the time because I'm making sure that I'm proactive in the mineral deficiency department, right? So I'll take a liquid magnesium, because magnesium is always a mineral that people are deficient in, and I'll eat the organ meats because there's a lot of minerals and a lot of different factors that are in organ meat that help with your body's overall recovery. I would highly recommend the bone mineral supplement and the 5 beef organs as a general tonic for you just to take ongoing as you're training. So be proactive in your nutrition. Make sure you don't go too strict all the time, although you may go through periods of time where you want to cut some body fat for 2 or 3 months, but don't be limiting food all the time, because you'll notice that if you're not nourishing the body will not be able to recover from your workout no matter what you're doing, right? Because first and foremost, food is how your body can rebuild tissue. And if you're not rebuilding tissue where you're breaking it down, obviously a plateau, right? So this goes into the next thing I'm going to say is obviously pay attention to your diet. If you're hitting plateaus over and over again and you've done all the other things that I've talked about, perhaps you're just not eating enough. Perhaps you need to eat more food in order for your body to be able to start rebuilding tissue and rebuilding muscle, and therefore fuel your workouts with enough glycogen as well, so that way you can be intense in the gym. So this is a very important factor, and it's something that I learned at an early age. I was a notorious non-eater. I hated eating. I really couldn't get hungry. I couldn't force myself to eat. And I just would go to the gym, and just through just being young itself, I would get some results. But once I started hanging out with this one friend that actually would eat all the time, and he was a super strong dude, and he told me, he said, "Hey man, you gotta eat, you don't eat enough." So I grabbed a plate of food with him, and I just stuffed myself one day, and then I went to the gym, and that day I actually pumped out 2 or 3 more reps on the bench press than I was doing before, which is hilarious because all that I changed was my food, right? So sometimes what people are experiencing is a lack of food, not necessarily overtraining. Sometimes they're just experiencing a lack of nourishment, and therefore the body cannot recover because it doesn't have the fuel to do so. Now, the next thing that can lead to a plateau is lack of sleep. So if you're doing things in your life that are preventing you from sleeping, and you can try to make some changes, do so, especially if you're noticing you're not recovering, because sleep plays a huge role. Now, I know some people need 6 hours a night, some people need 10 hours a night. It just depends on the person you talk to. I've always been a person that needs a lot more sleep than, say, somebody else. But if you're not sleeping, you're not recovering. So it's the same thing with food. Food and sleep, they go hand in hand. If you're not sleeping, that's it, right? Recovery is gone. And of course, this will boil down to your priorities. So some of you guys are probably up late at night watching TV or whatever, and then you have to get up early for your work the next morning or whatever. You have to prioritize this. You have to actually make a decision, say, listen, like, I need to get this much sleep in order for my training to do well. And you have to choose that my training goal is more important than me watching Housewives of something or whatever. All right? So get off the TV if you don't need to waste time there, all right? But you can watch my YouTube videos though, because they're really short. They're only about 10 minutes long, so you don't have to worry about wasting time watching my stuff. Don't mix that up. My stuff's good, okay? Just watch it. Now, last on this list, and I'm not saying this list is all inclusive of everything that can lead you to a plateau, is try to deal with stress in a way where you're not going crazy. I mean, this seems obvious, but get a meditation process. Learn how to see life from a different context if you're seeing it from a very stressful point of view right now. Walk away from situations that are not supportive of your own growth and your own happiness. If you're around some toxic people and they just treat you like garbage all the time, just walk away, man. Don't just hang around them if you don't have to. I mean, sometimes you don't have a choice, but if you do have a choice, just use your energy in a way that is nourishing to you, and that will help nourish your muscles, because your muscles have feelings too. The millennials will love that. My muscles have feelings too. I might come up with a shirt for that. Mountain. Sam Weller, if you're watching this, I need a t-shirt. Muscles have feelings too. All right, good. Get on that. You got nothing better to do. You only got 3 kids, Sam. Hey, you made this? Hey, you could just whatever. I'll just snap my fingers. Just make them up. All right, good. Poor Sam. So yeah, stress is a killer. Stress will kill you, literally. So if something's going to kill you, it only stands to reason that it will hinder your muscle mass gains. So try to stay away from that. And obviously, last thing I'm going to say is stay away from toxins like alcohol and drugs and smoke and all this kind of stuff. That stuff's going to place a heavy burden on the body, and that burden will hinder your recovery as well. And yeah, sometimes when you're young, you can get away with stuff for a period of time, but over the long haul, for most people, it's very toxic, and it will hinder your ability for your endocrine system to work properly, your digestive system to work properly. I know all sorts of people that have all sorts of stomach problems and stuff like that, and it's from excessive drinking and whatever else. So yeah, just pay attention to that stuff. Realize that putting toxins in your system is not necessarily going to help it be healthier. And yeah, if you're not healthier, you're going to have a harder time recovering, and therefore you will hit a plateau. So yeah, long story short, switch up the rep ranges, switch up the programs, don't be afraid to take time off, and make sure you're eating. And yeah, supplementation can also help with this. And if you're not eating organ meats, consider taking ancestral supplements. I got a link in the description. You can get 10% off. And yeah, the bone marrow and the beef organs I'd recommend you start with and give that a try. And if you want to just eat organs anyway, just go to your butcher and get some organs. Just try to get grass-fed, non-GMO, and organic, right? Because obviously you don't want all those toxins in your organs, man. You don't want them in there, because I just talked about that. You don't want toxins in your diet. Toxins are going to hinder your recovery, right? There you go. Bam. So I hope this helps out in your training. Thanks a lot for watching. If you need to get a hold of me, just go to naturalgallantbodybuilding.com, and there you can get shirts like this and workout programs and all that. And Mountain, take care for now. I got to go get the shovel. There's some people, I mean, there's some stuff back there. Well, you saw I've been doing a lot of stupid comments Saturday lately. Yeah, there's some stuff back there I got to move. I mean, I heard the helicopters above. They're looking for somebody. I mean, it's probably not me. Anyway, I'm gonna go for a walk. Man, where did I put that guy? I hope the barbarian troll people didn't dig them up. Or maybe they took care of the problem for me. Oh, okay. Sometimes one problem solves another problem, you know? It's a nice part about life.